Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mac. This is Camp W. I really needed a... what can I say? I need a slight break from Rayman Revolution because it kind of... it takes a lot of work to get the episodes ready, and I'm about to enter a long slog of getting to 100%, so I kind of burned out on that a little bit. And then I noticed that I have this in my Steam list. I played it for about 9 minutes before I realized I really like the dialogue in this game. So, choose your player. We can play as Lil, Leandra, or we can play as Lee, Lysander. Now the thing is that the main character here is, your main character is going to be a witch. Technically that's a girl's job, but also I want to give myself a break and have a male main character. Also, what is it with me and playing games where there's a main character called Lee? I don't get it. But yeah, what little I know is that you're a witch and you sneak into human summer camp. And I also played for about 9 minutes before I realized actually this game is really well written. Trying to think of what the music makes me think of though. It's the last day of the school year at Coventry Middle School, home of the Brewers. Go Brewers! As I was saying, it's the last day of the school here in Coventry, capital of the witching realm. Were the powerful witches living here cast into a secret, separate realm for their own safety? Or for the safety of the humans they once lived amongst? Who's to say? Well, as the narrator, I guess I'm to say, but I'm not telling just yet. This is only the beginning of the story that comes toward... Can I get like 2 seconds to set this up without another interruption? Okay? Sheesh! Today, Coventry's magical middle school is abuzz with young witches and warlocks, sorcerers and spellcasters, eager to begin their summer vacation, finally free from the shackles of education. And how do young witches of the Coventry Middle School spend their summers? Why, at Witch Summer Camp, of course! A wondrous place where sorcerer legends are told over purple campfires, spell pranks are cast, and lasting friendships are formed. It's a rite of passage for all witches. All except one witch, that is. You, Lee! Instead of getting to spend your summer dazzling cauldrons and playing Ogre Ball, you get to stay home and practice your spells, like you do every year. A famous witch once said, "Practice makes potion." That famous witch is your mum. One day you may just be the realm's next best potion crafter, if you can keep up with your mother's high standards. Also, I love how the little icon in the left keeps changing emotions based on what the narrator's saying. So no pressure or anything. Lee. Hey, that's me! Yes, we get character entries in this page. We don't know everyone, but we'll get to that when we get to that. The other kids emerge in gaggles and cliques and bolt down the steps of the school, laughing as they rush into their summer vacations at light speed. But not you. You may have just finished the 7th grade, but today your apathy is operating at a 10th grade level. As far as your witch of a mother, Mila, is concerned, you haven't earned the right to relax. You barely got by with B's at the school year, so this summer, like every summer, will be spent getting ahead in your alchemy studies. As you cross the courtyard, a tiny orange squirrel dive bombs from down a tree overhead and lands in your hands. Hey, why so glum? What, did you sit on your wand again? Nugget. My familiar small squirrel. Big heart, even bigger attitude. If you soaked half a pound of fluff distilled in sass extract, then cast a spell bringing it to life, you'd have Nugget. You know why, Nugget. Every year my classmates go off to summer camp. Every year my mum makes me stay home and practice my craft. Look on the bright side. Every year you get to spend summer with me. When I think about it, I feel sorry for all those other kids in their nuggetless summers. Anyway, Gadget is waiting for us to hit up the orchard on the edge of town, so she can make some of her famous summer brandy wine. No, I can't carry all those pilfered fruits on my own. Nugget has been the family familiar for 3 generations, passed down from your grandmother, Gedgie, to your mother, Mila, and finally to you. I don't want to say Nugget is old, but he's still sore over not getting credit for the invention of peanut butter. Running will only get me home faster. Why rush? Mum's just going to ambush me with her yearly summer study plan as soon as I walk through the door. Her standards are impossible to meet. Everybody else goes off and has fun all summer, while I'm inside for 2 months picking the eyes out of dead frogs. Living with Mila can be a trial. Everyone knows that, it's me. But I survived, and so will you. You can't let one witcher with a broomstick up her butt ruin your whole summer. You gotta admit, her potion making skills can be quite useful. She hooked me up with a slimming serum, and I must say, I am looking good. Nugget strikes a pose that shows off his figure. He looks like an orange grew a head and a tail, but go with it. I just want my summer back. I don't care if she can turn a clay brick into a gold bar. I just want my summer back. Also, I'm, like always, the recording bar in the top right is obscuring stuff. So don't expect me to pick the top right option often. She does this every year. It's bad enough having her looking over my shoulder. Summer is supposed to be fun. I've literally never had a fun summer. Drama alert. This will be our 12th summer together. I can say for a fact we've had some really good times. Like that time Gedgie accidentally knocked you into one of her brandywine barrels and we all thought you ran away. By the time you got out, your entire coat was dyed red. You looked and smelled like a walking, talking cherry. I had to drink an entire gallon on the spot just so I had room to breathe before I could make my escape. You slurred for an entire week after that. It was pretty cute, I guess. See? Great memories. In no time at all, Coventry Middle School is now a ghost town. Everybody is probably picking out their bunks by now. Let's get home. I'm sure it won't be as bad as you think. When it's accidentally worse, you can stay in and do my lesson plans while I sneak out into town. When you arrive at home, the whole house is buzzing with activity. As you and Nugget walk into the kitchen, workers whiz out past you, hustling cameras and lighting equipment out of the room. Looks like your mum is wrapping up this new season of her shoot taping for Potion TV. For someone who doesn't insist she doesn't even watch television, she sure is on a lot of it. At least she should be distracted enough we can grab a snack and get out of here without noticing. You try to keep a low profile by ducking behind a costume rack while Nugget raids the fridge, but a pesky production assistant comes by and rolls it away, leaving you exposed. You're home early. It's not your mum, it's her mum, your grandmother, Gedgie. Everyone calls her Gedgie because when you were little you couldn't pronounce you couldn't pronounce a name that you can't even pronounce now. It's a weird name by which standards? If they're just going to let everyone out early on the last day of school, why even have it at all? Gedgie, the best hugger in the Coventry. Right? That's what I'm saying. But then you wouldn't emerge into a beautifully sunny summer day. Starting your vacation at the end of the day would be so anticlimactic. I think this way is much better. Alright, Nugget said that. Oh dear, this is going to be a confusing scene. Perhaps the school district should stick to teaching and leave the poetic send-offs to someone else? Oh. Hi, Mum. So much for going unnoticed. Mila and Gedgie. My mum, the Super Witch, and her mum, the best hugger in Coventry. But since you're home early, I can use this soundboard before it gets packed up for the day. Mila reaches down and presses a button. A loud fart noise resonates through the room. Wrong button. Why do we even have that button? It's Yzma. Mila pushes another button. Ominous, suspenseful music begins to play. Mila's eyes locked onto you, and in her best game show voice, she says, "Lee, are you ready to test your potion crafting skills?" "Pop quiz on the first day of summer. I think you've set some new sort of record, Mila." "Oh, lighten up. It's just a little game. I won't apologize for trying to make learning fun. Apparently your Gadget would like to see you lay around all summer like a lump." That or she just loves me. One or the other, but who can tell? Love is looking out for your future by pushing you to be the best you can be. Are you sure you're not confusing love with military school? If I let you fall behind on your studies, that wouldn't be love at all. Then we'd all just be a bunch of dull humans. Don't fill the poor bottom child's head with all this nonsense about humans. They're not dull, they're just not witches. Our craft makes us different. It doesn't make us better. Now it's Mila getting the lecture, and it clearly isn't sitting well. If your mother really wants to teach you something, she should give a lesson in epic eye rolls. She's a master at it. Also, I shouldn't have the mouse cursor so near the Venus flytraps. I don't get it, Lee. When you were younger, I couldn't keep you away from my garden, picking herbs and inventing little potions of your own. I saw myself in you, always excited to learn. It was so adorable. As soon as you hit middle school, you apparently got way too cool for your family. Your grandma hasn't seen a new recipe written in it in ages. What happened to the little witch I used to know? Mila, you can stop the dramatics. The camera's already got packed up. No one wants to be a little witch forever. Lee, if you want a break, I say you take one. We'll be here for you whenever you need us. Gadget gives you an extra long hug, but when she lets you go, Mila is still there, arms crossed, waiting for you to step up to her challenge. You know that even if you put it off, she won't let this go. It's like this every summer. Fine, let's just get on with this already. Mila holds up her hands in front of her and quietly recites a short spell. As sudden thunder pierces the night, as magic wonder, wild of fright, as witches see the second sight, I call the moon to show her light. The lights overhead change position and point directly in the center of the room, at the cauldron there, which is already bubbling and smoldering. I've arranged a little experiment using ingredients left over from today's shoot. The potion in front of you is nearly incomplete. It only needs one additional ingredient to be finished. Any witch worth her weight in woodbine should be able to tell what it is and what it needs. So, are you up to the challenge? 3 ingredients sit on the counter in front of you. You carefully examine the bubbling cauldron. Slightly sweet smell wafts out from it. You're not exactly sure what it smells like. Your mind has drawn a complete blank. All you can think of is the summer sun shining down on happy kids as they arrive at camp. It could be a health potion, which would need Spit of Newt. It could also be a sleeping potion awaiting Velvet Leaf Extract. Or maybe it's a love potion missing its Tears of the Forlorn. But you're not really sure. Love potion, sleeping potion, or health potion? Meeny, meeny, miny, mo? Oh dear. This was about as far as I got, and then I threw this in because it's a blue potion. So throw in a blue ingredient, right? Based on the smell, you figure this is meant to be a sleeping potion. It isn't. You reach for a bottle of amber velvet leaf extract, which Gadzi makes herself from the yellow petals of velvet leaf plant flowers. You add just a few drops and step back. The pot roils and belches, but the bubbling quickly subsides and the contents of the cauldron go cool and still. After a moment, Mila reaches out as if to dip her hand into the pot, but she can't. In just seconds, the boiling potion is turned ice cold. It's hard as rock and frozen in place. Wrong one. This is going to take a pickaxe to clean out. Didn't you get 10 more cauldrons like that through your last endorsement deal? You know that's not the point. Cauldrons come and go, but you only get one chance to make your mark on this world. All of which has their ability to cast spells and create potions. This was supposed to be a pot of calm water, which is pretty much Potions 101 recipe, which was not one of the options that we had, so no matter what would have bowls it up. What do they even teach at that school? This old chestnut again? You shrug your shoulders as your mother lays the same lecture on you she does every year. It's mostly dodgeball. Alright, I think we've quizzed enough for today. Lee, why don't you take Nugget for a walk and cool down a bit? It's beautiful outside. I need to get started on celebratory summer feast. Maybe you'd like to pick some flowers for their centerpiece? Anything to be out of here. Yeah. I feel like maybe the female character makes a bit more sense, but this is easier on narration. As you make your way into the quiet woods of Coventry, your house recedes into the background. A thick layer of leafy cover creates a shady path to walk among trees. Can you believe her? Who gives their kid a pop quiz on the last day of school? That was pretty rough. I wouldn't worry too much about it though. Gedgie has your back. There's a woman who really appreciates the sanctity of summer. It's not just about today, it's all the time! I thought once Mum got really busy with her talk show, her line of being beauty products in the subscription potion delivery box she just launched, that should be busy enough to leave me alone. Apparently not though. Beneath your feet you follow a faint path down a trail we've walked with Gedgie on many summer afternoons like this. All my life I've been doing what she wants me to do. I want to forge my own path, make my own friends. You stop in your tracks, turn 90 degrees, and start heading in a new direction, just like that. And immediately the sky grows a little darker and the woods get a little quieter. Watch out, world, it's my time. Nugget eyes the shadows in the distance and decides to hop up on your shoulder. At least it is until it's dinner time. That's my time. As you walk, you see a big mushroom growing on top of a dead old root. Decide that its shape and colour look enough like your mother that it's no longer welcome in these woods. You step up, tee off and kick it towards a big pile of leaves a few yards in front of you. Your aim is right on point, but before you can be too impressed with your budding sports skills, you're surprised to see the shroom bounce right back out of the pile and land at your feet. Did you see that, Nugget? Your fine kicking form? I did. You sure showed that mushroom who's boss. But if you mean that odd bounce, I've dived into my fair share of leaf piles. That's not how they usually work. You hesitantly approach this pile and realize it's definitely not a normal formation. The whole thing is held together with fine silk, almost invisible unless looked at from the exact right angle. Who put this here? Possibly the world's sneakiest spider. This isn't the best disguise. If someone were trying to hide something out here, why wouldn't they use an obscuring spell to cover it up? I suppose if you wanted to hide something from another magic user, you might want to do it the old-fashioned way, so they couldn't sense it. You can't really counter a pile of leaves with a magic spell. Maybe it's just not that important. I guess they won't mind us checking it out then. Some things are best left. Before Nugget can dispense too much wisdom, you can tug on the silk string, and it snaps. Twigs and leaves fall to the ground, uncovering an old stone altar. A pile of rocks sits in front of you, carefully stacked into a beautiful little table. Moss cascades down the sides, as if it has been part of these woods for a long time. Ancient antlers adorn the top of old beads, and amulets hung from its points. On the surface of the table, Among some melted candles are 3 objects. It smells smoky as if freshly burnt. Some sort of offering? Looks more like a raccoon's yard sale. Either way, we shouldn't touch it. Maybe not, but at least I have a very nimble lookout who can tell me if anyone is coming. Ahem. Yeah, fine. But please be careful. If you touch anything, there's some hand sanitizer in your bag. Nugget sighs, collects himself, then takes off scurrying up a nearby tree. In front of you sits a lock of hair, a small purple flower, and a gold locket. And the music is making it clear that this is not a good idea, but Lee's going to do it anyway. Which item would you prefer to examine? The locket's most interesting. The locket is small and delicate, with an ornate carving on its outer gold shell. It has a clasp, but it's already slightly open when you find it, so you open it up the rest of the way. When you look inside, you see that one half has a faded photo cutout in it, while the other is empty. Based on the patina of the photo, you guess that it's very, very old. The face of the photo is that of a beautiful young woman with some outrageous earrings. As you stare into her eyes, you're overtaken by a crazy idea. She actually looks, well, a lot like me. Nugget comes down from the trees to get a look. He sticks his little nose right up to the locket and examines it. I can see where you're coming from. She really does. Is that the excuse you're going to use when you pocket someone else's locket? I wasn't gonna steal it. I was just going to take it home to show Gadget. You know she'd get a kick out of this, and maybe she could help me find the owner with a tracer spell. A slightly better excuse, but just slightly. You look over your shoulder, but the forest around you is as still and quiet as you slide the little locket into the secret pocket in your bag. You shouldn't be out here alone. I'm going to take good care of it. We wouldn't want it to get stolen. Oh man, these icons. Which item would you like to examine? Well, okay, let's go with something that might not have been left there by accident. Or we'll examine them from most interesting to least. The lock of hair off the stone surface. A ribbon is wrapped around it, but it might not even need that because it seems to be held together with some kind of wax or pomade. The end is charred, and as you put your close to your nose, you determine this is definitely the source of that smoky smell, in addition to a leathery musk. It smells a bit like an old man, the kind who might be waving around in the air while telling stories that start with, "Back in my day." Once you've gotten a good look at it, you set it down and wipe your fingers off on the leaf. Which item would you like to examine? A small purple flower sits at the center of the display, star-shaped with a faint amber glow at its center. While it looks delicate, with long thin petals, the edges of each petal are razor sharp. It's not a bloom you're familiar with. You hold it to your nose, but don't pick up any specific fragrance. Hey Nugget, you ever seen a flower like this? Am I supposed to be keeping watch, or am I supposed to be helping you solve mysteries? Squirrels, right? As you turn the flower in your hand, one of the sharp edges catches your fingertip. Ow! A single drop of blood falls from your finger onto the stone surface below. It sizzles and pops. You hold your hand out to feel for warmth, but it's totally cool. When you look at your fingertip, it didn't even leave a mark. While this sounds very spooky, you're a witch after all. In this realm, it's actually not that weird, so you shrug it off. Suppose if this flower was important, they wouldn't have left it in the woods. Besides, I'm sure they can just grow more. You place the flower into your bag, careful not to catch your finger on it again. Having looked at everything on the altar, you stand in the woods and contemplate what it might all mean. Now that you've fully desecrated someone else's altar and taken their things, maybe we could think about heading home. What's the big rush? Maybe while we're here I should cast a spell that finally frees me from another homeschooled summer. You couldn't even concoct a cauldron of calm water. I don't think you've got the chops to manipulate time and space. Et tu, squirrel? No one in this family respects me, not even a little. You're in middle school. The only people who respect you are in elementary school. For every other kid, this is supposed to be the best day of the year next Witchmas. But no, not for Lee. As you shout, leaves begin to swirl about your feet. Spending your whole life studying so you can be the greatest witch in the realm, and for what? To boss your kids around someday? To get your face printed on a billboard so everyone knows how great you are? That's not the type of witch I ever want to be. I want to get out of here and become my own witch. And Nugget probably knows the leaves. Kiddo, really got to chill. This is not the place to... In a fit of rage, you slam your fists down on the altar, and as you do, energy radiates out through the woods, shaking every tree around you. The altar shocks you and sends you backwards. You slam against your tree and your vision goes black. Well, I don't know about you, but if I can figure out a safe way to save, this looks like a place to stop. Yep, this is how you save. So, until next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around.